In this week's case study, I want to have a look at a game called Nidhogg. It's a few years old now, but as indie games go, it is an absolute cracker. It's won a bunch of awards. How best to describe it? It's a one-on-one fencing platformer where its emphasis is on couch competitive play, but you can also play one versus computer. Just incredible game, and there's a couple of things I want to pull out of it that we can learn as indie game creators, and things that might help you in the game that you're currently working on or currently thinking about. Let's have a look at Nidhogg. In the game, you control one character and fight against one other character, whether that is the computer AI or against your friend. You have 3 stances for your sword, high, middle, and low, and you can attack with a stabby motion. You can throw your weapon, you can jump, dive kick, roll, automatically block, disarm, and if you're disarmed, you can engage in some punchy action if you don't have your sword. And there's about 10 screens that you travel through horizontally from left to right, with one person needing to push all the way to the left and the other person needing to push all the way along to the right. You win when you push your opponent all the way backwards. It's this tug-of-war mechanic that I want to touch on first, as our first learning point from this game. And unlike many one-on-one fighting games where the victor is the say, first to 3 wins or first to 5 wins, in Nidhogg, kills really don't matter that much. It's all about the ground that you gain. And with this comes a whole set of really cool emotions for the player. It feels like an arm wrestle. And you have the advantage, then you don't have the advantage, and he's got the advantage, and oh crap, I'm about to lose, I must hold on, and then you also get the, oh, I'm about to win, I need one last push. So you get this emotion when you're in those points. And if you've played tennis, it feels a lot like being tied at 40 all, and pushing to go from advantage to winning. You know how you have to get, advantage this person, and then if they lose that point, it's back to 40 all. And this kind of tug-of-war pushing, shoving, it means you can have longer games that feel like someone is always right around the corner from winning, which is really cool. The lesson here is that winning does not always need to be linear. You can make your game feel more dynamic with some back and forth tug-of-war mechanics, and not just have it one thing equals 1 point. The second thing I want to highlight is the way Nidhogg uses the environment to constrain what actions the player can take. For example, not being able to jump, which in turn actually increases the amount of gameplay that's available to the player. So in your game, instead of adding more abilities or actions or attacks or features, you can think about how can you remove those things to create more interesting gameplay for the player. So for example, in Nidhogg, there are a number of corridors that prevent jumps and sword throws, so the tactics you need to use in the corridors are very different. There are bushes, which make it very difficult to see what your opponent's stance is. There is high ground and low ground situations that change the way you need to attack, and there are bridges which dissolve if you stand on them too long. And the third thing I'm going to talk about is the way Nidhogg's combat feels like a real-world thing. It feels just like the way that we imagine fencing would feel, with its dancing back and forth and parries and thrusts and stances. Now, I'm pretty sure it's not how fencing actually feels, but it feels the way we think it feels, and that's the important thing, the way we imagine it's going to feel. So if it was just regular old hack and slash style combat, it wouldn't be as engaging. But by saying, let's make this feel like fencing, it gives the game an instant personality. The experience I get as a player is to feel like I'm in a fencing duel. So in your game, it's good to ask yourself, how can I make this feel like a real world thing, rather than just saying, let's make the character have a bunch of cool moves, for example. As always, I hope that's been useful, that quick conversation about Nidhogg. If you liked it, feel free to give us a thumbs up, throw some comments. I love to hear from you guys. If you had anything else that you thought was cool, if you've played Nidhogg, let us know down below. And as always, if you want to subscribe so you get more of these videos, I'm trying to do them on a weekly basis, these case studies. So let me know, give me some feedback. It's always super useful for me to hear from you guys about what's working and what's not working. Until I see you again, good luck with your game creation.